Today's date, October 5th, 2019. Before I talk about what I really want to talk about, I have to say rest in peace to a Black Hollywood icon, Diahann Carroll. She just passed away. Diahann Carroll had this quote that I love, and that quote is, "If you're not invited to the party, throw your own." I'm going to repeat that. If you're not invited to the party, throw your own. And that is by the beautiful, the talented Diahann Carroll. May she rest in peace. And now, I gotta talk about something. I just heard about this. A young man named Joshua Brown, the young man who testified at the Amber Guyver trial. For those who don't know, Amber Guyver is this white female police officer who murdered a 26-year-old black man named Botham Jean. Now, this young man, Joshua Brown, he was murdered earlier today. I mean, this is so crazy. It's real fucking crazy. I mean, this young man, young black man in his 20s, he just testified against a murderer who ended up being convicted and sentenced. But then, days after he testified, he is shot and killed. And this did not only happen after that murderer was convicted and sentenced, but it also happened after the victim's family, particularly Botham Jean's brother, forgave Amber Guyver, the killer. I mean, I'm not really into Christianity like that, but to me, that forgiveness stuff, I mean, part of it is bullshit. It depends on who you're trying to forgive. I mean, if a person is really sorry for what they did, that's one thing, but some people don't deserve forgiveness. You just, I mean, even if you forgive for yourself to get over it, to heal, then take your time and do it. I mean, that's up on you. But this young man, Joshua Brown, was murdered right after he testified against a killer who was convicted, sentenced, and forgiven by the victim's brother. I mean, seriously? A killer gets forgiven by the victim's family members, and yet another young man is murdered. And just like Botham Jean was a decent, positive young man, he was an accountant. This other young man that was murdered earlier today, Joshua Brown, he was an entrepreneur. He was doing positive things with his life. All these positive young black males getting murdered. Now, I don't like assuming things or jumping to conclusions, but I believe this was a straight up hit. The young man Joshua Brown was targeted by the police, the Dallas police, maybe. I mean, come on now. This young man gave his testimony against a killer, and emotional testimony at that. And days later, he is murdered. Why? Who out there knows why this young man was murdered? That's real fucked up. Really fucked up. A young man who has his life together, just like Botham Jean, was murdered. I mean, as far as Botham Jean goes, rest in peace to him. I mean, there's all these theories about the motive, about why she murdered him. I mean, regardless of the motive, she still murdered that young man. And personally, I think she should have gotten a lot more than 10 years. Because the way I see it, and people have been saying that she's not going to do that whole 10 years. Probably at least 5 years or less, then she's out. While there are other people who've done less and got more time. Specifically, black people. And now, this young man, this other young man, Joshua Brown, who was Botham Jean's neighbor, now he was murdered. This is ridiculous. We got young black males, young positive black males, being murdered by people within and outside of our community. Something has to be done. I feel very bad for that young man, Joshua Brown, and Botham Jean. I feel sorry for both of them. Young positive males, young positive young men who lost their lives. No, they no. I'm going to rephrase that. I got to rephrase that. Those two did not lose their lives. Their lives were stolen from them by some punk ass murderers. Life is too short. Life is way too short. An innocent life can be stolen just like that. For what? For what? Two promising young men did all the right things, were murdered, both in their 20s. This is ridiculous. Too many people in this world are dirty, they're evil. They'll kill somebody, murder somebody, take an innocent life, and won't give it a second thought. Life is short. Protect yourself. Protect that one life that you got. To all those demons, devils, who murder innocent people, I hope they get exactly what they deserve. And I mean exactly what they deserve.